Welcome back to the Lighthouse Podcast. My name is Alex Camargo, and along my good friend Tristan Moretti, we're your hosts today. And we're super happy to bring a member of our community to this channel today. We have here Mr. Ramon Soto.
Oh, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
So Ramon owns a collision center in town.
Correct.
And is an important staple in our community. And we're going to talk about work ethic. And of course, a few different subjects when it relates to that. But watch this and we'll be right back. Welcome again. We're here. It's a pleasure to have you here, my brother.
Thank you.
You've been a great friend. Your wife, a real estate agent, Cassie, works with us, so we've had this great relationship for a long time. We brought you here today because of our friendship and because of knowing you for a while. I've always admired your work ethic.
Thank you.
You're a stand-up guy. You're an honest guy in an industry where it's super easy for you to be a crook.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So you own a collision center, New Age Collision,
Correct.
right here in Brookfield, serving the whole state. And as we talked prior to filming the podcast, you get people from a lot of different states coming to bring you the vehicle.
Correct.
And of course, we'll get into how you made that happen, how you get to that point in life. You know, it's by having a good work ethic and doing things the right way. But this industry is very unknown to a lot of people, right? So a person gets insurance for their vehicle and they're driving on their way home or on their way to work, snowstorm, other vehicles. You never think that you're going to get into an accident. It's not something that you're looking forward to, right? But then you do get into an accident and now you have to go repair your vehicle. Of course, you in most cases, you involve your insurance company and then a good shop will have a good relationship with insurance companies and will know how to have these conversations, right? But for the average person, I crash my vehicle. I have no clue what that bill is gonna be like.
I have many customers, first-time customers, with the same problem.
Yeah.
And well, first of all, thank you for having me.
Sure.
And thank you for coming on. And I like to thank the Lord, first of all, for putting us together. Because and foremost, I wouldn't be here sitting with you guys if that didn't happen. I guess timing is always in the essence, and we're at a correct level in life to have this discussion, right? So, as far as accidents, you know, that's a touchy subject because it's when you get into an accident, the first thing you think is, you know, who am I going to bring it to? Or not even that. When you get into the accident, the first person you do is you call your parents or you call your wife, your husband, that sort of stuff. Make sure that, you know, they're around so either someone can pick you up or call the tow truck and then go from there, right? So the following day, usually it's the following day, within 24 hours, you end up calling your insurance. Now, your insurance will, of course, ask you a couple questions. You know, one, I hope to the Lord they ask you if you're okay.
Yeah.
Right? I hope you have someone that on the other end that's having a good day. And
have you made any
okay.
statements?
Yeah. So, you know, they'll give you a claim number. They'll ask you a couple questions, how it happened, if there's a police report, and nowadays they can look that up too. You know, the insurance can look that up. You know, who the other person was, if they had a policy number, you know, a bunch of different questions just to get to the point of
assessing the damage.
Assessing, but it's a liability, right? So anything that you say,
have
that's what
you
they're
made
going to
any
hold
statements?
you to. That's how it rolls. Because that's based on your policy, right? And no one ever reads their policy. To be honest with you, I still haven't met someone that read their policy to know exactly what the coverage was, besides knowing what their comprehensive liability, the basic stuff, right? So, you know, the insurance always has the upper hand at the beginning because they're the ones that technically are the bank.
Yeah.
You know, insurance doesn't. So anyone that's watching this, right? So an insurance carrier does not fix a vehicle, does not dictate where you can bring your vehicle, does not dictate how to fix your vehicle. These prime three things are things that the insurance carrier will try.
Yeah.
You know, they'll try to do it. It's a gimmick, right? It's a gimmick. They try what they can, and not knocking on anyone that works for insurance. It's you know, that's a very good living.
It's the game.
It's just a game that's played. And for those that are naive, unfortunately, they twist our hands very quick. And that's something that in my line of business, I see on the daily, and I don't stand up for that, right? Mm-hmm. The bullying, that sort of stuff, I'm not for that, right? I've been down that route before. We're not going to the past. We're going forward, helping people and making sure that the community gets exactly what they deserve. Mm-hmm. Now, you do have consumers that been down this road and get into accidents multiple ways and try to, remake the wheel and tell you how it works. And unfortunately, it doesn't. Every insurance is about the same, if not all the same. Different accidents or different claims, you treat them a little bit different depending on the incident. But you got to be careful out there. It's a very, very dark world when you're dealing with insurance companies, when you're dealing with body shops, when you're dealing with an automotive. I mean, I feel bad for like females that go into body shops and get treated a certain way. So the industry needs to change. But as far as the consumer not knowing, there's many things. Oh my Lord, there's many things, and many things like claim handlers tell you, representative will tell you. Even the adjuster. It's very easy to be an adjuster. You take a small test. Now you're an adjuster. Now you know more than the last guy. And it's very. I've seen them. Oh my Lord, we've had set.
You Google some stuff.
Oh, I'm sure you get them in the real estate. You get a license. All of a sudden, you're the greatest thing. And that's not how life works, first of all. So we have many sit-downs with many adjusters. We have tremendous, great relationships with many adjusters around the area. They know, how I am and what I expect and my expectations are with the consumer. And, eventually what you do is, when the consumer figures out where they want to go, right? So in the state of Connecticut, you can go wherever you please, as long as they're a repair facility licensed, right?
Licensed, registered with the state.
Exactly, registered with the state. So you can go wherever you want to go. But the biggest thing is to educate the consumer. Let them know what their rights are, what to look for, what the insurance might say, what the coverage is. That's another thing. You're driving a Lamborghini with $50,000 coverage. I'm sorry, you're paying the difference, right? Aftermarket parts versus factory parts or salvage parts. Nonetheless, there's a couple insurance companies that go all factory, depending if you have a factory policy. But for the most part, because it's so generic right now, almost all insurances do aftermarket, used parts, right? If the vehicle's new, I've seen even like the worst, vehicle might have 2,000 miles. Now they want to put an aftermarket fender, even though the policy says different. They'll try, right? Reading is key. Educating yourself is key. So there's many things that the consumer needs to realize, and educating is my fundamental part. I don't. So like my father says, if you're selling something, it's a gimmick. It's really what it is. If you're selling it, it's a gimmick. That means that you're buying two, getting one free, right? So the idea here is to let your workmanship and your business sell itself, because that's how you build a good, solid foundation, especially here. I mean, my Lord, I was down in Orlando. We go way back, because I haven't taken a vacation in a long time, but we go back in Orlando a long time ago. I met people from Danbury. And then they know people that I know, and then they knew a relative that I said, "Whoa, I'm way down here." And
I try to get away from you guys and go to Orlando.
You're telling me
the world's small.
Exactly, and so you have a big audience in this small town, small county, right? Even Connecticut as a whole is very small, so people know each other. So the best thing that you can do is you treat the consumer phenomenal. I mean, you can check our Google review. Maybe we have one or two, people that aren't, satisfied, but there's always a reason for it. I've learned in life that you can't please everyone, but the best thing you can do is do the best that you can with what you have, right? I remember the days, as a young kid, no tools, trying to fix something, literally a rock, a hammer, and a couple of twigs, try to figure something out. You fast forward time, I have a state-of-the-art facility. It's, for a guy
which you
my
continue
age,
to improve.
Listen, we're going to the trade show. I'm going actually with a couple buddies of mine. One gentleman that both own businesses, but one owns a body shop in Bethel, and we're going to the trade show on Sunday. And I'm not technically going for the buying, even though I am going to buy some equipment that I've been looking at for a while. I'm more going for the story and the blessing that it's given me to participate with these guys. It's a bond that it's very hard to get sometimes because you're always on the workflow. So I'm very excited. But the consumer needs to understand, not everyone's there to help you. Preferred shop's definitely not there to help you. I'm sorry. I still haven't seen a preferred shop that's willing to help and do everything by the books. And we're not here to engineer vehicles, right? So this is another thing. We're just here to fix the vehicle 100% to what it was before, pre-accident condition. So if it had a factory fender, well, a factory fender is going back on, whether you like it or not. If the insurance is not paying for it, unfortunately, the consumer has to pay the difference. That's always been a thing, right? Body shops take a loss because they think that the insurance is going to be a problem they're not going to pay. The insurance will always pay. But so for instance, Alex, I go to you and I say, well, Alex, the insurance is paying, $1,000, right? But the job is $1,200. You're responsible for the other $200. It's no different than you going to your doctor and your doctor goes, Alex, we have to do this procedure, but your insurance does not cover it. What are you going to do? Are you not going to do the
kidney
procedure?
back or no?
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So there's many things like that, but the biggest thing is with us. No, we educate. I don't sell nothing. I fix vehicles. I serve the Lord, and whatever comes from there, wherever it brings me. I know there's a lot of avenues. I opened up a lot of doors that I never in my life thought they were going to be open. A lot of wonderful people that have come into my life through this industry. Whether they stayed with us and not, and other people as far as like for instance, you could use a company around here, right?
Yeah.
So like Speed Sport, for instance, I deal with Speed Sports on a daily basis. I knew the original owner for the longest time. That's one person that ended up at my facility, unknowing, right, and helped me out. And then as time progresses, I knew who he was and who his friends were, and these are the guys that were coming down. My interest wasn't to who you are and what you do. It was just to have simple conversations. You're teaching me, I'm teaching you. And before you know it, you got a couple millionaires walking down, the pipeline at my shop, right? That's how I started. Now you fast forward, the new owner, me and him are even better friends. He'll text me, hey, I got this, I got that, or hey, how you doing? How's your day going? How's everything? You know what I mean? So it's not so much about money anymore.
It's not transactional. It's the same thing we say in real estate all the time. It has to be relational.
Absolutely.
It's got to be relationships.
Absolutely. And like I tell everyone, my whole thing, even my guys, I advocate to teach them. Teach them, because at the end of the day, God forbid something happens to me or we fall out of interest with each other as far as work relationship. I'm not that kind of guy to throw you into wildfire and expect you to try to fight it by yourself. I'd rather give you a couple tools and help you out so you could defend for you, your wife, your kids, the whole family, and whoever else comes with it. But I would also hope that you help everyone else that comes along your way.
That you pass on.
You have to bless. I'm sorry. You have to do something of that nature. Because I don't know anyone in my field that has come through my 20 years of doing this that has not learned and bettered themselves
while they were there.
Or with me in general. I don't know one that's gone backwards. I don't. Everyone has always gone forward, and that is more satisfying than the dollar will ever bring. But going back to the consumer has an opportunity to shop around as well. But as far as big shopping around, when the insurance, when they write a check out, they never write a check for the correct amount because they know that that's probably what you're doing or you're not fixing the vehicle. Once it comes to a repair facility, then they'll pay. So there's many things, but choosing us is most likely the best way. That's me in a small bunch for you.
Yeah, and that's good because as you're telling us your story and how you operate, I continue to get a sense of transparency.
Absolutely.
Right? So you tell me, whatever is behind that bumper, I, as the end consumer, without a lot of knowledge on vehicles, I don't know.
Correct.
So if you tell me you replace all these clips that hold the bumper together are brand new as opposed to the old ones.
Correct.
I wouldn't even know how to inspect it. So I have to take your word for it.
Correct, which is the hard part. I've done to the point where I'll grab the consumer's hand And I said, come take a look, feel this, take a look, take a look at the other side, take a look at this. My wife says, don't do that. But the reality is, you're making an emotional connection with everyone that comes in because getting into an accident, it's a big emotional thing.
Yeah, and it's good that you're an advocate to educating the client, because let's say take our industry in real estate, right? Every real estate agent, or I don't want to say every because we continue to push more people to do this, but most real estate agents are putting enough content out there before you even get ready to buy a house. You already know what the buying process looks like. If you follow 5-10 different agents.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that. Yeah.
Your industry is not on, I don't want to call it your industry is not on that limelight where it gets shined on all the time, right? So, and you're the youngest collision center owner that you know.
Correct.
Right? Almost everybody else may be up there in age where they're not so friendly with social media, where they don't take up an interest in educating more than just their customers, right? Because your social media account, Instagram, for instance, is Facebook, constantly active, right? Because you keep putting this stuff there all the time, right? You're educating.
We try to put stuff out there as like what we do.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Help out, I think I said that before. We don't. Even though social media is a great platform for everyone, that's not something that we carry to heart. Because it'll never beat word of mouth. Yeah. So, but you're
using it to educate people.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. So,
absolutely.
If in like you said before, in educating me, you also subsequently and subconsciously selling to me. You're selling yourself, but you're selling it. Correct. You're not pushing me to use you. Use my shop. I'm the best shop in town. You're actually saying, hey, we have a pretty good shop. I educate you along the process, right?
Correct.
I'll tell you what I'm doing. There's a certain level of transparency here, right? I'm being as transparent as possible. Use me if you want, but I would use me because of everything that we are, right? So by having the social media accounts and being present, you're pushing that transparency to people. So we're talking about this in a different episode as we're looking for, let's say, I know you as a body shop, there's a couple of other names in town, right? And of course, my relationship with you, if I ever crash the car, that's where I'm going. Right. But if I move into a different town and I don't know, I'm looking for a barber and I don't know any, right? So I look up a couple of barbers, I start following them, right? But I'm not ready for a haircut. Yeah, but I know it's coming up in a week or two, right? When it's time for me to make a decision, the person, Tristan mentioned this beautifully, the person that, it's not like I'm going to go on the yellow book and look for more barbers. The person that comes into my mind is the one that my heart will follow me to their doors, right? That's the intuition, right? So by being present, by being transparent, by educating the client, whether me directly or maybe a family friend that came to you and say, like, Ramon fixed this for me. And they told me what they were going to do. They told me how it was going to work. They told me what possible issues I was going to have with the insurance companies, and they told me how I would fix those issues or do the best to fix those issues. Correct. As I'm thinking, okay, boom, I got into a car accident. You mentioned this before. It's a very emotional process, right? The first thing you're thinking is, am I safe? Are my kids safe, or my wife, or whoever's in the car, my friend safe? And then the first thing you want to do is communicate to your family, get a police report, and then start working on that. After I'm driving home or I'm being driven home, hopefully I'm okay from that car accident, or even doesn't have to be a big accident, right? I scraped whatever, a pole, and then now I have to bring it to fix. On the way home, I'm thinking, where am I going to fix it? And then your name pops up because of everything that you're doing for this community and how you act and how you're being transparent, how your work ethic in doing the actual work, right? You're not going to cut corners. Right, I know you're not knowing.
There's no need for stuff like that. You're getting paid for what you do. So at that point, just do it. People that cut corners, in a sense, are the ones that looking for a quick dollar. A quick dollar never lasts, right? So it never lasts. But looking for a body shop. So I'm going to twist this a little bit, right? So you're looking for a body shop, and you look us up and that sort of stuff, right? But let's just say if you're not looking us up, right? You're just looking for a body shop. What to look for, right? So that's the hardest question you have, because I actually have a customer last week that was moving down to Boca Raton. And he said, well, my Lexus has an issue. Can you get me the part? I said, I can get you the part, but it's by Friday. I'm leaving Wednesday, so there's no way I can help you, but I'm so sorry. You're going to have to figure it out. The best thing I told him down there is, when you realistically go to any type of body shop or any type of business, see if the environment is very positive one. You can tell just from opening the front door of the facility if it's welcoming.
Or if it still smells like cigarettes.
Right. Or paint, right? Or one of the other, right? So, is it welcoming? Is it, are they very professional the way that they speak? Do they have paperwork ready for you? Who do they deal with? What insurance company? If they give you, I deal with A through Z insurance company, that might be a red flag, personally, because that tells me you're there for volume. Yeah. But if the consumer doesn't understand that or know that, then there's other ways, But it's understanding that the front office is very professional and understands your need, most likely that body shop is definitely going to help you.
Because now, even that front office needs to be knowledgeable in order to deal with the insurance companies, right?
Yes, right. Absolutely. Yeah. So when something goes wrong and you have to send an email, like nowadays, no insurance likes to come out anymore. Yeah. Everything's virtual or via email. Well, a couple bad letters or a couple wrong sentences, in a sense, it's not going to trigger the other person on the other end to try to help you. So you need someone educated enough to make it work, right? To make it work. But I like I told the gentleman, I would go to the dealership first and then see if the dealership has their own body shop or who they use. I would start there because it's very hard. I don't know anyone down there myself, so it's very hard. But I would personally, if you're looking for someone, just make sure that they're in it to help you and not in it for $1 or for the insurance. Regardless, like I tell people, you have to pay the bill at the end of the day because you have to take your vehicle. It's not like a house where, the contractor comes in, does all the work, and then, I don't know if you had a fight with him or not, and now you don't want to pay him or it's 50% or whatever the case may be. It doesn't work that way. You have to pay. I mean, the correct thing is to pay everyone that does the service. Yeah. No one does it for free, and when they do it for free, be blessed that they do it for free. Yeah. Because it's very tough. Yeah. It's very tough out there. But that's what I would do. I would check for professionals, make sure that the correct vibe, as I call it, is correct, is very positive, and that the emotion drive is there, not so much of a sale. Because if it's always a sale and someone's trying to sell you, hey, do this, we could get it done fast, it's going to cost this. You're throwing so many things in my brain that I just don't want to deal with it. It gets exhausting. Yeah. But if you educate me from the beginning and treat me well, oh, yeah, I'll leave the car there. I'll leave my wife's car there, too. You know what I mean? I'll help you to the end. So that's what I got to say about that aspect of it. But it's very hard. Yeah, we would have to touch more base on this. Yeah. I think there's a lot of great people you should get in contact with that have been doing this for longer than I have because they tried that fight. They tried the fight as far as being independent and making something work and helping the consumer, but it got tiring. Yeah. It got tiring. Yeah. For me, at this point, I'm not tired. I'm still into the fight because I'm still building. Like, I'm not done. This is real to me. One. This is a hustle to me that continues. But I have a different faith than many other people. I believe that the Lord gave me a good skill that I didn't know I had, and it flourished into what it is now. Yeah. He's given me a house. He's given me, the shop. He's given me a lot of things that I'm very grateful for. But they're very minimal, and that's all materialistic things. Yeah. The biggest thing he gave me was my kids. My kids have helped me out tremendously. Every time you go home, right? You go home and you're tired, and you've had a long day. First thing you see is a smile on your child, or a hug,
you replenish your tank.
So you can't compare. So that's realistically where the Lord heads you to. I do it because, I'll be honest with you, out of everything, I do it because my objective, my long-term objective is to teach. Whether I continue with a body shop later on, who knows, 20, 30 years down the road, I would like to teach new generations because I think that's the generation problem started with our generation and just a hair under, and now has evolved into a big ordeal, I don't know how you feel about that, but the generation right now needs guys like myself and others to help bring them forward into this light.
Yeah, there's a lot of information and not enough action.
I would actually say that is kind of like a major issue, and I think you just brought up not only something that's important just for the sales field or the service field or just like the economy in general, but the general population, especially in the United States. Everyone's always like, but the teachers don't get enough, teachers this, teachers that. People don't realize that there's teachers in everything. There's teachers in real estate. Yeah. There's teachers in the collision industry. And this knowledge needs to be passed down, and it needs to be passed down by people that are actually passionate about it. And I think that's where you're headed towards, is because when I walk into a business, right, I've messed up my car before, and I could tell.
And you didn't use us?
It was before. It was before then, but when I was like 16.
Yeah.
You walk in, you could see the entire staff is stressed out.
Correct.
Right, they're stressed out, and what you were saying before is kind of like a deflection.
Correct.
Like, we're gonna do this, and this. It's gonna cost this. We're gonna call the insurance. We're gonna do this, and all of a sudden, there's so many words that came into your brain, and all you heard is it's gonna get done fast and cheap.
Correct.
That's a good point.
And that's a sales deflection technique.
It's almost covering an insecurity, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yep.
And what's actually happening there is that I don't want to necessarily call bad work, because it's not necessarily bad work. And then, of course, you do have the situations where the bumper is held in by zip ties and Bondo.
Correct.
Where we need people like you in every industry that are willing to still do it right, still do it the old-fashioned way, and pass that knowledge to someone who also has that exact same passion, who's going to pass that down the generation. And we're kind of like losing that.
Oof.
Yeah. We're the microwave generation. We want fast results.
It's
right?
a tough one.
Yeah.
And it's we can still get the food, but it's just going to be it's a faster food, where the slow cooking food
that crock pot always tastes better.
Exactly, is a better tasting food, is the healthier one.
When this all goes south, is we're going to start from day one again.
Yeah,
with sticks and stones.
The sticks and stones. People got to figure it out now, right? Yeah. So I think a lot of that comes down to households, right? Not teaching these young kids from the beginning.
The family unit.
Absolutely. So back in the day, right? So we would sit down, especially like my family, 5:30, 6 o'clock, everyone ate together. In today's world, you don't see that anymore, because either the father's working, I'm one of those people at the moment, which I feel terribly about that, and I will start changing that. But that's what you see nowadays, is everyone either on their phone or eating late, or one had a snack and the other one ate late, whatever the case may be. But it starts foundation. It starts at home.
Yeah.
I think guys like myself, there's a lot of them, but a lot of them don't want to speak up.
Yeah.
Because they think that their colleagues will say something, or that the new phrase that I've heard, the engineer, right? The engineer. So someone's taught you something. Now all of a sudden you're an engineer. It's not that. It's you want to teach people, and those that are wanting to teach have to just stick up and say, what, this is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do.
In a way, you end up crucifying yourself, because by speaking up, you also open yourself to some objections out there, right? To some people who don't want you to speak up, right? Because they like the status quo and they like how things are moving.
Correct.
But eventually to instill the change that we want to instill, and to create these changes, like, somebody's got to take the hit. We've seen this over and over.
That's like the fundamentals of just like, I'm going to use the word capitalism, but like, essentially, this whole economy that we have here in the United States was built on the fact that the ones that will be successful and will work hard will continue to, and the ones that do not will fail. And we're in this weird period of time where the ones who aren't working as hard are also still
gaining something,
still somewhat being successful.
So there's no trophy at that. Well, I guess everyone's getting a trophy.
Yeah, it's a participation matter.
That's not right.
Well, I'm talking even like just in the mindset of how you spend your money.
Correct.
Because you grew up in a mindset of, well, I'll just get it done the cheapest and fastest way possible. And then you're going to have that avenue of poor craftsmanship, poor work, and then that line of people is still continuing, and then there's no progress on 50% of that entire industry.
Yeah. You end up getting in what you put out, right? So you put out poor work, poor mindset, poor workmanship, and then you end up getting the customers who are attracted to that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then that continues.
Like I always said, you have a cheap customer, they bring all their cheap friends.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then before you know it, that door closed, and you look back, and there's no one there to say, "Hey, here's an extra 10 grand to keep you open."
Yeah.
You know, so you have to make everything whole. So if you're going to fix something, fix it correct. Whether it's electrician, plumber, HVAC, collision business, whatever the case may be.
Fix it right or do it twice.
Yeah. And it's not that hard.
It's not.
I don't get it. You know, I don't get it.
And having to redo it costs twice as much.
It does.
Because someone else messed it up worse than it already
It does.
started.
But also, too, I mean, you know, income plays a big part in a lot of these subjects, right? Because if you're only making, $20,000, let's just say, it's very hard for you to spend money on something. So you're going to want to just not cheap out, but do things a little bit less
proper
than proper. That's just the way to look at it. But then you have guys, making, 100,000 plus, and you look at it like, I already been down that route. I got to this because of doing things a certain way. Please just fix it 100%. I don't care what it costs. I have customers like that.
Yeah.
I have customers here in Brookfield that say, here's a car. I'm not even scheduled in, right? They're not even scheduled in. Here's a car. Fix it. Call me when it's done.
Yeah.
And then I look at them and I say, well, do you want to know the price? Ramon, I'll trust you.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. But that's a different income of people. It's just, it's a very hard, you know what? That's a very good one. That's a very good one.
I mean, it's also like that different income kind of balances itself out. I mean, for myself too, I'm fortunate enough that I have 2 cars, but both of them are, I'll say the nice word, crap boxes.
Okay.
Right. Like I have two cars. They're fun. They work for me. If they break, I can fix them.
Correct.
Right. And I know how to source the parts and do whatever I need. But someone who's only making $20,000 a year, they're not going to spring out for the most luxurious car, for the thing that is going to cost the most money to fix, right? They're going to be driving like a 2003 Toyota Corolla, and they hit their bumper, and you can order a bumper that's rolled up in a box on eBay to like slap on it, which is what we did with my dad's Camry. But I think down the line, and I think the word we were missing there is patience. And I think down the line, as we attempt to make things, I guess as you continue teaching and you eventually find the correct group of patient people, whether they're making no money at all, they owe $100,000 in debt, or is Jeff Bezos, you're going to find a group of people that understand the quality and craftsmanship of what it takes to do things correctly. And if someone can't afford to do it correctly, at least they're aware that they're not doing it correctly, and that in the future, when they can, they will.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's, what was instilled in you as a young professional at that point, and I'm sure by your father more than anybody else, and now what you're trying to pass on to other people is, you can safely sit here with a bunch of other young entrepreneurs who want to open up a collision shop. Let's say you do this mastermind and people come from all over the country to listen to you speak, and you can talk about the technicality of the work, but you can also sit with them and say, do the job right, make it whole. It will pay off. It has worked for me in my community. And if your community is anything like my community, replicate it to the T.
It's correct.
Yeah.
You're 100% correct. It hurts. It costs nothing to do it correct.
Yeah.
It costs nothing to say the truth.
Yeah.
So you have to do that. I mean, that's how it needs to be. I'm going to tell you a quick little thing here that happened to me, right? So I had a gentleman I've known forever, and I haven't spoken to him over 20-something years, right? I knew him when my father was working in the city. For some odd reason, when you go on your phone on Messenger, if you click on it, you can call the person. Somehow my phone called that person, right? And he's on the other end, and he's a New Yorker, and he's giving me an earful on the other end, and I'm like, who is this talking on my pocket. Long story short, we were talking for about an hour, and he gave me a beautiful formula that works, not just for this industry, but for multiple industries that service, right? And has helped out tremendously in the aspect of money, aspect of emotional investment with the consumer and the and vendors and dealers and so on and so on, and employees. But at the end of what we spoke about, he pretty much told me many things will go wrong when you get to the top of this formula. After it gets to the top of the formula could do two things. It could go downhill and everything can wash away, or you could sit there and you could evaluate everything you've done throughout the whole, not just a year and the whole career, and be a better person from that, right? So the key thing here is there's many people that are willing to invest in you. The gentleman educates people. He used to own body shops. He's a consultant. It's a miracle that phone happened, because it's changed my life tremendously in the last couple of years as far as business, right? Yeah. But willing to educate is hard for some, very easy for others, and those that are quiet and silent, they need to speak up. Yeah. And the faster they speak up, the better it'll get for not just the consumer, but for everyone as a
industry.
Whole, as a whole industry. This industry is big. You're talking billions of dollars.
Think about every car.
Oh my Lord, it's crazy. Manufacturers make a killing. I don't know how much it takes to make a vehicle in today's world, but for what they're selling here in the East Coast, you got to be making something. Yeah. The dealerships wouldn't be around if they weren't. Yeah. So educate and help. It costs nothing, and to do the right thing, it costs nothing. Yeah, it costs nothing.
That is true.
Maybe some time.
Yeah, time. But what's time? In a sense, you either you can help, right, or you can sit on the couch and watch Netflix. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But you're not doing anything with your life, and you're not helping someone else move forward. Right? Yeah. You're definitely not giving any blessings. And if you're trying to give some type of blessings and the other person is not taking it, you're blocking those blessings. So now it's going to take you twice as long to get to where you want to be. Yeah. That's why I spoke, when I spoke to you a couple of days back, I said that there's levels to life. And the faster you want to obey and submit yourself, you will make it faster. You will get there, because there will be a lot of people on the way that will help you, genuinely help you to move forward in life. But if you block that and you turn into an ignorant person, know-it-all type deal, and you're not level-headed, you block those blessings that the Lord gives you, and you get nowhere. So you do have to educate, and you do have to have an open mind on everything. And once again, those that want to speak up, and they should, because it helps out tremendously, and we can go way much faster. I open up about everything that I know as far as like tricks to the trade, how to get this off without, going through all the other steps. Yeah. I learned that from very valuable people in my life that did that as a young, I was 16, 17 years old, 18 years old. They said, Ramon, do this. And this was a salary, it was an hourly thing. When I went to go work for a gentleman in Richfield, wonderful human being, he was a very military guy, ex-Marine. And he gave it to me very straight. He said, either you do it correctly or you got to go back to where you were. Yeah. That's how this is going to go.
That'll prompt you to...
Absolutely. But you have to understand that the liability is so high. This is a vehicle. Okay? This is not a lollipop. This is a vehicle. And the liability behind all that is not on you as a technician. It's on me as the owner. Yeah. So if you do something wrong, it can cost me the building. It could cost my house and everything around it. So he educated me right from the beginning, day one, because that's exactly how it was, day one. And my mind and my mentality came right back down to earth, put my 2 feet, now they were grounded, and we were able to do business correctly. And that's realistically what got me into the first time going into business, was that. Yeah. Not just because of now we were going to have a family-owned business, which that's great, but it was more because when I took that step of understanding what someone else older than me was telling me, and he was giving me good good,
solid
advice, he wasn't being a bad guy. He was just telling me, hey, kid, this is what it is. You're a young punk kid. You need to listen.
Yeah.
You're great at what you do, but you always have a downfall. We all have those downfalls.
Yeah.
It's just timing when those downfalls come. But if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have what I have in a sense of a work ethic.
Yeah.
Very good work ethic.
He did you a favor.
Oh my Lord! Yeah. I saw him about a year ago before he sold his shop. I gave him a hug, gave him thanks. I said, "Man, you have no idea what you gave me."
Yeah.
He laughed. He says, "Yeah, I know."
Yeah.
Because everyone, that same thing, like I said before, everyone that left his shop and never went back. Meaning, in a sense of went back, in knowledge.
Yeah.
Knowledge, even salaries. Everyone always made more.
Yeah.
But was because of a solid foundation being taught, educating.
And that's his gift in life. It's not only to give you a salary, but to make you a better human being, a better,
oh, my Lord.
A better
The gentleman worked until he was, I think, 75, when he just sold.
Yeah.
And he told me, he said, listen, I should have retired 10 years ago. But because I love this industry and I love what I do, and even though I argue with, not the consumer, but the insurance to help and advocate, Ramon, and, I can leave tomorrow with no friends, right? But I know that the Lord will go up there and say, hey, you did good, kid.
You did a good job.
You did good, kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what I hope to have, of course, at the end of my life. But until then, no, we have to help.
Yeah.
We have to help. As a community, you actually grow stronger.
Yeah, absolutely.
You do. Everyone that puts in the effort is going to make it so that everyone else around them begins to put in the effort.
And as a generation, you actually grow bigger. Your network gets bigger. Danbury area, I think I said that to you not too long ago too. Danbury area has so many good, talented people, whether it's artists, whether it's body band painters, whether it's HVAC guys, whatever the case may be. So many talented people that they can do way more, but they're not willing to invest in themselves, and they're not willing to take that leap of faith.
Yeah.
Right?
Get
I'm not saying
level.
quit your job and go and do your own thing. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, you need to
continue in education.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have guys that I also I do network with a couple guys, older guys, younger guys, and you might probably see them on my social media here and there. And I don't look for anything in return. I tell them right from the rip. I'm not. This is all respect. This is all to help you, help me, help. And I guess it help because it's social media. It helps a little bit everyone, but I'm not looking for anything in return. What I'm looking for is if I can get you out there with people that I know and they can at least feed you, give you something. I know that your family's being fed. I know that you're moving forward in life, and I know that later on, if you're doing the correct thing, you'll still be in business and you'll be blessed more and more. Hopefully, they get closer to the Lord, because I try to advocate that too. I turned a Christian. Well, actually, when I went into business, I had a big downfall, and I gave my life to the Lord. I'm a sinner, no different than anybody else. But as soon as that happened, my eyes opened up, and then I saw clarity. So, will I go back to not helping people? Listen. I can't. It's just something that's it's installed in you, and it's almost like the grooves here. You have to help people.
Yeah, you're serving, and no matter what you do, no matter what your job description is, no matter what your business is, you're in the business of serving people, right? Because you're not selling to yourself. You're selling to somebody else. You're providing service to somebody else.
There's so much physical pain, emotional pain that I've endured, and I'm a young guy. I tell people all the time, I'm an old soul. I'm an old soul in a young body, right? Because it's true.
Yeah.
And at least that's how I look at it, and that's how I feel. I endure a lot of pain, a lot of stuff that some people look at and they go, "Oh man, I don't think I can do that." Right?
Yeah, they would have crashed.
They would have crashed already, right? So it's not for everyone, but we all have it in us. We all have that opportunity. We all have that drive. You just have to tap into it.
Yeah.
And you will start seeing that more and more. But if you don't open up your eyes, man, it's driving blindfolded through your whole entire life. Yeah, it all comes to an end.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have to see it. You have to help. You have to be the best person that you possibly could be every single day. And not every day is the best day. I mean, I told you this morning, my propane furnace went,
Brand new
propane furnace, after everything got done. The gentleman that installed it, wonderful human being. He took it better than I would have took it.
Yeah.
He looked at me and said, "Don't worry, we'll take care of this. We're going to fix it. We're going to do what we need to do." And in the process, he was educating me as to how it happened.
Yeah.
And come to find out it was a manufacturer defect anyways. Hopefully, everything gets taken care of in the next couple of days. But the whole thing to this is, you only have one life and make the best of it.
Yeah.
Make the best of it.
Well,
That's
brother,
what I can take from this.
We appreciate you coming by. It's been an honor for us to have you here and share your knowledge and life experience, but also in continuing to letting the community know who you are, right? Mm-hmm. So, and by having it's not often that you have the access to the owner of a business, right? Because they're super busy all the time, right?
Yeah.
So by at least knowing who you are, they can know what type of operation your business has. Even if they've never met you before, but they see you on this channel, they can have a good idea of, okay, if you are like that, then you expect no less from your employees.
Correct.
Right? They expect no less from the front desk person, right? So it's good that you're here. We love bringing people here. We have a constant traffic of a flow of people from all different walks of life and business owners, somebody who just got their first job now, because we can learn from everybody else, right? So we appreciate you. New Age Collision Center in Brookfield, Connecticut. We're going to leave your contact information below so anybody can contact you if this happens, or even it'll be recorded here. So if somebody gets into an accident tomorrow locally or in the state of Connecticut and they're looking for somebody, they can always think of you first, right?
Correct,
and go
correct.
check you out.
Or even if they need some type of advice, I'm more than welcome to help. Want to email me or call me. I'm more than willing to help anybody.
That's awesome. We'll definitely, and other industry professionals, right? Because you're not afraid to share it.
No, listen, I've been doing this for so long that I've come to the realization there's not many. There's definitely a lot of people like myself, and not many doing it like me.
Yeah.
And I can put my money on this that the day that someone else comes up into the limelight and helps the way that I help, I will partner up with them. And make something bigger. Bigger. Because I look for people like that.
Yeah.
I talk to many people, and I'm always looking for that person that's willing to go as hard as I go, but in the same profession, of course.
Yeah.
And so this way we can team up and make a better outcome for Fairfield County, even Westchester County, because I got a lot of customers in Westchester County.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah, absolutely.
Time will tell. That's for sure. Time will tell. It always does.
Absolutely. Well, friends, thank you so much for being here with us today. We really appreciate your time. Do us a favor if you can. Click on like on this and subscribe to our channel. We're constantly bringing different people, different professionals from different industries to share their local knowledge in their communities, right? Because that's where we are. Real estate agents, we're fully focused on our communities. And of course, if you know Ramon, or if you got a good content if you got good advice from this content, help us out by sharing this so other people in our community can also come to know him, right? So really appreciate your time. The Lighthouse Podcast. We'll see you next time.